So today the pigs went a little too far, literally and figuratively. When I pulled up to feed them for the day, get the bucket out of the trunk, dump the food into the bucket, and all that, they heard the noise and they decided to come out and visit. And normally they'll wait by the fence, right at the edge, look out and wait for me, and then they'll, charge towards where they know I'm going to feed them. But they decided to come through the fence, hang out in the road, and just not come back. And I even took the bucket back in the fence, shook it, still wouldn't come back. And because they're afraid of going under the fence, but I don't know why they went out in the first place. So fortunately no cars came by, so there wasn't any issues there, and they did eventually come back in. But that's just not good. They're completely not respecting the fence at all, so we kind of have to take some measures. Unfortunately, what this means is that they're not going to have free access to half-acre pastures anymore. Instead, they're going to be boxed into a small pen, and that means increased feeding and less exercise. But I do hear that prior to 70 pounds, I was trying to find some sort of information on the blogs about this, and they said that prior to 70 pounds for the pigs, they don't feel the shock as much. So I'm hoping that I can keep them in this pen for maybe a month, let them gain some weight, start feeding them 2 times a day instead of 1, because I was relying on them to get forage for a lot of their food. Hoping that I can let them out again, and maybe by then they'll have a better respect for the electric fence because of the way I'm going to set it up. And I'll show you the way I'm going to set it up once it's up. But you can see also, here's the shed that they were sleeping in. Down there somewhere is where it used to be. I moved this. It took me about 2 hours to do, which isn't really scalable. So I'm going to have to do something else for the shelter. They don't need something this gigantic, but it was the cheapest thing I could find at the time. What I'm going to do instead is I got this PVC here. Right now it's just sort of put together. It's not cemented or anything like that. But it's super light. You can just lift the whole thing up pretty easily, and I'm going to actually leave a couple spots where I can detach it so it's even more manageable. I'm going to take that. I'm going to take a tarp that I got, drape it over, tie it up, put some cinder blocks and some rope on over the top of it so it doesn't blow away. And that's going to be their shelter. That way I can move it pretty easily. I can buy about, let me see, 5 or 6 of these homemade ones for the same price as the giant one behind it. So it's a lot more scalable. So I'm going to work on setting up the fence, and I'll show you what that looks like in a minute. Okay, so we got it up. You can see the car driving by. You can see the fences. What is this? Welded wire. And we have inside the welded wire, we have the electrical. So this is kind of what we should have done in the first place. This shelter is much more simple. It's nothing beyond what they need. This particular one is a little not sturdy. It needs to be glued. We haven't glued it yet. Mainly because our PVC cement is jelly right now. But you can see they're kind of ignoring, I can't zoom in really. They're kind of ignoring the fence. They're just butting their heads right up against it right now. Or the wire, I mean. Which they should not be doing. They should be afraid of that wire so much because they know it hurts. And they're not. Oh, that one. Yep, you can see it touching it with his nose. So this is what we should have done in the first place. This is going to be their training fence for now, I guess. They got everything they need in there, just not as much room. It's going to be a huge mud pit by the time we let them out of here, unless we figure out a way to get them to obey the fence before it turns into a mud pit, or turn this into a mobile pen. But for right now, hopefully this will work. So we're gonna turn on the fence now and see what happens.
Yep.
Oh, there you go. Not touching it?
No.
Was it touching the fence?
No.
Oh, okay.
That one sniffed the fence.
You got mud all over the place.
Mm-hmm. See? Oh, there it goes.
There you go. See, it hurts, but it doesn't hurt enough. It should hurt a lot more.
That one just touched it. Missed the zap though.